Yeah, so there seems to be a brand new coronavirus porn craze sweeping the internet.
What is it?
If you search into like Pornhub, you'll find 112 result-related videos around the topic. Now, these topics may be kind of variations on like classic titles, or they could be kind of a weird new thing. So you're going to get titles like coronavirus patient fucked in quarantine room. Then you have the old classics like MILF in coronavirus quarantine gets hard fuck.
Are these all videos you looked up now for research purposes?
Research purposes only. But this mightn't necessarily be industry pushing on people. This might be people actually overwhelmingly looking for this content, and then the industry responding to the demand for related content.
Like, it's just mental.
Like Pornhub do these analysts share their data with media members, and they just post it on their website, and generally somebody comes along and they write an article about their data that Pornhub gets out. There was like, we've covered stuff like this before in the past around St. Patrick's Day, and around when I think it was Hawaii got gay-ish bomb shelters were about to be nuked. When those alarms start going off in Hawaii, they released then statistics like what people are doing on the site, and this showed like basically around that when sirens are going off, like flatlined, 0 people were on it, and then after it, when it was like made false alarm, skyrocketing. So they've done the same thing around this lockdown period. Italy was the first European country to go in a nationwide lockdown. Around the same time, what Pornhub did was offer people in Italy free premium membership to their Pornhub, and they get all the premium content that Pornhub had to offer. After that, so that was around March 12th, Italy seen an increase in traffic by 57%.
57?
Yeah, 57% increase in of people come to their site.
Just in Italy or worldwide?
No, Italy.
All right, okay.
France and Spain, when they offered it them, France was about 38.2% increase in traffic to the site after they offered France basically premium service for free, as well as March 17th for Spain, it went up by 61% when Spanish people were offered it for free. Millions of people signed up to Pornhub's premium service when it was offered to them for free. It was like, but Spain was like 61%.
Spanish are just mad for it, isn't it?
Yeah, there's whatever reason, the Spanish were really in the mood for it. They were well happy with the offer. They're like, yes, we'll take this. We can't leave their house. We only can leave our house if we want to walk our dog. Like, it's, yeah. So around this time, like, people couldn't leave their house for anything. Like, so if you're on your own, if you're stuck in your house and you couldn't go to the local nightclub, or you couldn't, like, you weren't even allowed basically go to work. You had to work from home. So you're obviously had a whole lot of time. If you worked from home, you're spending a lot of time looking at a screen. And then obviously in Spain, people are like, well, it's free and they're not really tracking what I'm on now because it's my home laptop. I'm just going to... Yeah, so like they've seen a massive increase. United States, UK, and Canada, they didn't really see too much of a difference. Around this time, I think they got about 6 and 7% increase in traffic during the lockdown period around this time. So they didn't get anything. Ireland, 17%.
17?
Yeah, 17%. On March 16th was our highest peak. Then the next day was about like 16%, so it didn't really drop too much. But it was about 17% increase on traffic. It was whatever happened on March 16th. It might have been the day that Ireland went into lockdown. I can't really remember.
That was the day that St. Patrick's Day parade was cancelled.
Oh, really? So around St. Patrick's Day, we were devastated of losing St. Patrick's Day. And people took out their frustrations on themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are expecting to happen on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if it's the time that like a lot of people expect to have sex. But on March 16th, Ireland seen a massive increase. 17%, nearly 20% increase. We were up to the Italy levels, or the even Spain levels of when they were offered the service for free. Pornhub obviously didn't offer Ireland it for free. Australia, wasn't actually around this time. Australia and New Zealand didn't get hit too bad at all with coronavirus. I think they had the same amount of numbers around this time as Ireland, with a far bigger population. So they didn't really go into too much of a lockdown. They were able to get their hair cut still, and they were able to go for coffees, and they seen only a 5% increase in traffic. So they didn't see really too much of an increase. They're kind of around the same as the United States and UK and Canada. Now, remember what was happening in the United States at the time? There was a lot of Black Lives Matter protests around this time as well. So people were probably prior occupied to America just burning, both metaphorically and physically. So I imagine that had a lot to do, and obviously just Canadians were just watching America burn with s'mores. What was kind of more interesting about this was the time of day people were choosing to log on to Pornhub. So back in 2019, there was a year-round review of Pornhub. What is the peak times for people visiting the site? And that's between 10 p.m. and midnight is peak times. And then it drops off early in the morning when they reckon people are in bed asleep. So this kind of changed during the lockdown. So around March 17th, seeing an increase by 31% in early morning viewership of Pornhub. So around 3 a.m., they're seeing a 31% increase in visitors to their site, while again at 7 a.m. there was a 1.4, which is about normal. It was pretty much around the same time that what they were getting previous to coronavirus. Afternoon time, a 26% increase in traffic compared to whatever it was back in 2019. Then I broke it down the regions into US and Europe, and they had also Asia and a few different countries. Let's focus on basically US and Europe. So the biggest increase for Europeans, and they basically took in time difference into equation. So it was 2 p.m. everywhere in Europe. Around Europe, on average, they seen from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. was the biggest increase, and then that followed by slight dip around 7 a.m. They've seen 1.4 dip around 7 a.m. What they basically took from this was people are actually staying up later because they didn't have to get up for work, and they're spending their extra hours awake on porn sites, and then they're sleeping longer. So they weren't waking up in the morning and going on to the sites. So they reckoned what they were doing was just sleeping in.
After wearing themselves out the night before.
Yeah, after wearing themselves out, they decided to have themselves a little bit of a lie-in. And then by the afternoon, after they fed and drank and got rehydrated themselves, they seen a 26.4% increase at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So people were back at it by mid-afternoon. But this isn't like the US, where there was a massive difference, a 40% increase at 3 a.m., whereas a drop by 11.9% at 7 a.m. So this was massively the case in the US.
What are they at?
And then mid-afternoon, they seen them about 26.8% increase in mid-afternoon. By the evening, so around that kind of 10 p.m., 11 p.m. kind of peak, America's seen a slowdown in traffic by about 11%.
A slowdown? The later it went, the less people were watching.
Yeah, so people, their typical peak, people weren't watching. I don't know what they were doing around the 10 p.m. Obviously, they weren't in bed. Well, I reckon people weren't going to bed. So this is an activity people might do just before they fall asleep. So I imagine maybe they're watching a movie, maybe they're playing PlayStation online, maybe they're looking for a new job. I don't know, but they obviously stayed up later, and then just before they went to bed, the same routines kick in, go on the local porn site, and yeah, that happened about 3 a.m.
Jesus.
So we eventually get back onto what people are searching. Around March 5th and 6th, seen the largest increase for searches on Pornhub around coronavirus related topics, and that was that kind of day span was 1.5 million people searched for coronavirus related porn.
What even is coronavirus related porn?
Well, we just clearly pointed out it's like what appears to be is you're locked in a room with a coronavirus patient and a doctor in basically a hazmat suit rides you, or vice versa, or something like that. Or there's a lesbian or there's a MILF involved and something related to coronavirus. There's somebody's probably going to be wearing a face mask unless they're giving blowjobs. I don't know. Like, I was doing research for this article and getting up stats. Well, I seen it, like, I couldn't find it on, like, Vice's page. So what I did was I searched Vice Pornhub statistics, and various other kind of sites were popping up articles. So I was reading them through the articles, and a lot of people were doing articles on how porn is shown to have sex safely due to coronavirus. A lot of these sites were talking about, we can take examples of how people are having sex in porn, and actually, if we want to have sex with a stranger, this is how we should go about it. So really, this could actually, this porn craze could actually come like educational videos for people who might want to go on the poll at some point in the near future. Like, as a way to do it even safer than just wearing a condom.
Wear a face mask.
Wear a hazmat suit and pretend like, yeah, you're a doctor. This whole thing could just end up being really kind of educational for everybody, and maybe more of us should be looking up these videos as educational health advice rather than necessarily just slagging it off.
Yeah, like if you're getting your health advice
from porn, there's something very. So this goes on to countries then, right? In the last 30 days, 9 million searches for coronavirus related topics on Pornhub and porn sites happened, or it would have been Pornhub. So the most likely country to search for was Slovakia. They had a 119% increase on the normal worldwide average of searching for coronavirus related porn. So Slovakia is the epicenter of, like, they're obsessed about 119% increase on coronavirus related porn. Tied second, Bulgaria and Ireland on 88%.
Okay.
88%. We are number 2. So they ranked the countries for who are at the most. Slovakia, by far, out like they're a dot compared to what Ireland is. And then
there's no catching them.
Yeah, there's no catching them. They're out. They're gone. They're out of the gates, and they're no catching them. Ireland and Bulgaria are second, and then it gradually gets less and less and less. We always like to compare ourselves to the UK. They're not even on the list. I went down through it because, like, fair play to like Pornhub, because I was reading through the statistics and they're very clear that Ireland isn't part of the UK. So they gave like the UK statistics, and they didn't include Ireland in it. And then they gave the Irish statistics as well. So fair play to them. They never mistaken Ireland for the UK, which we are very, very much appreciative of. I was very impressed by them not doing that, because it happens way too often. So fair play to them on that one. I can tell you that the highest number in the UK for increases on Pornhub was Scotland. They had a quite substantially larger than overall the UK, which, like, interestingly enough, I think Northern Ireland's down near one of the lower. They're like, I think like Manchester and Northern Ireland are two of the lowest. There's even a huge difference between what Irish people and what Northern Irish people are searching.
That's mental.
Yeah, so Ireland, Slovakia and Bulgaria, they are all in.
They're mad for it.
Yeah, so like I don't know what it is about us. Anytime something like this happens, I know, like, in terms of for like St. Patrick's Day, there's like a huge increase on misspellings of the word green, and like popular terms like lesbian and red hair and other Irish things like that.
Hang on, misspelling of the word green.
Well, maybe not green, but I think it's more like lesbian. But what they determine is people are going onto these sites around St. Patrick's Day with a bit of drink on them and are looking for festivity things.
So people get pissed and then decide, you know what I'm going to do?
You know, I think it's people go out and they're like, you know, I'm going to go to a pub, I'm going to have a good time, and possibly I'm going to bring someone back. And then it doesn't happen. So they're in bed and they're like, all right, I'm really drunk. I have my phone in my hand. It's St. Patrick's Day. I know what to do.
Let's see what we can find.
Yeah, let's see what we can find. And that's what basically they do. I don't know what Irish people are necessarily trying to get out of Pornhub when it comes to the coronavirus.
Yeah, well, maybe it's public health advice.
Yeah, maybe could be public health advice. I know also when Facebook crashed, also before, Pornhub also seen an increase for terms like Facebook. So typically what you see is anytime there's a big massive event, it'll fall back on Pornhub. It will get searches for.
That's just crazy.